evening, guys, again. How y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live to talk about this week's episode of NXT. It's May the 4th be with you, as today, of course, is Star Wars Day. May 4th, 2021 edition. It took place, as always, at the Capitol Wrestling Center in Florida. No word yet still on when the next NXT TakeOver event will be. Of course, it is May. The past couple of years, they've had one in June, and there's been no word of another takeover yet. So we'll just have to wait and see if they do another one or not anytime soon. But as of now, there's still been no announcement for when the next NXT TakeOver is. This show tonight, a little bit better than what we've been recently getting, I'd say. It was solid. They tried. I wouldn't say everything knocked it out of the park for me. They tried to, do some things with this show, I felt. And they kind of, intrigued me a little bit more than the past couple weeks. Last week's show was just there. This one, we'll see where it goes. It hyped up, of course, for a big show we have next week. We have Mercedes Martinez and what's that? We have Mercedes Martinez and Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Championship. We also are going to have Kushida versus Santos Escobar in a 2 out of 3 falls for the Cruiserweight Championship. And Karrion Kross is going to take on Austin Theory also next week. So we hyped up the show for next week pretty good. This show, we had a women's tag title match. We had a Falls Count Anywhere match. I'll be honest, I didn't get to see it. I'll explain why in a second. And an interesting turn of events to see what we got for the NXT Championship picture. So we'll just dive right into it, and if I have the time, I do have my next Harry Potter Let's Play, Part 7 of my Half-Blood Prince PC gameplay. Hopefully I'll have it uploaded before I go to bed tonight. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, let's talk about NXT tonight. We just got Tyler in a live chat saying his usual stuff. When is Finn coming back to the main roster? I have no idea. At this point, maybe not for a while at least. It looks like he is going to go back after the NXT Championship once again. And of course get rid of both the women's tag titles, which I always do agree. The women's tag titles, unfortunately, are not... You just can't do them. I mean, if you want to have one set, that's fine, but 2 sets, that's a little pushing it. But let's roll in and talk about the show very quickly here as I get ready to go to bed. So we opened up with Leon Ruff versus Isaiah Swerve Scott in a Falls Count Anywhere match. I will be real. Again, I didn't really get to see much of this match at all because I had issues trying to get my TV on, and I didn't go back to watch it. I did see that Isaiah Swerve Scott won, and we had some people from the crowd interfere, which looks like AJ Francis catches him and throws him back to the barricade. I think it was some of those guys that Scott was sitting in that recording studio with. I guess they're trying to make a stable out of that for now, which still feels very, out of character. Again, I just still don't dig what they're doing with Isaiah Swerve Scott as a heel. It just feels so random. Like, him being a heel just felt like it didn't need to happen. Like, he could have just been what he was as a babyface and just given the right opportunity. Like, I still don't get why we had to turn him heel. But he wins, thank goodness. But it looks like he has a stable now involving AJ Francis. So that's that. Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory try to interrupt a meeting with Regal, but they are rebuffed as Regal's meeting with Scarlett. And of course, we have Theory saying, "I like your big," obviously talking about the big ones that Scarlett has on her chest. But they turned into saying he likes her big nails, and Johnny's like, "Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that?" Because being an idiot that Johnny's booked like. But because of that interruption, they booked a match between Karrion Kross and Austin Theory for next week. Which, I hyped it up, as a match for next week. It's going to be like a whatever match to me. We'll talk about Kross again in a second. Cameron Grimes then defeated Asher Hale in a match. Again, still trying to, one-up the $1 million man he is, Ted DiBiase. And then, as he's celebrating, Everrise came up and said they want to join him for the post-match celebration. And but he says there's only room for 3 in VIP. Me, myself, and Cameron Grimes going to the moon, as he always says. Also, we see Frankie Monette backstage mocking Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. So I don't know if that's setting up for their first match, because they were also being interviewed about Xia Li. So I don't know if one of them will take on Frankie Monette in their first match. But of course, now that we had a change in the women's tag titles, well, maybe not yet because we already had how many changes, but I would say maybe we'll see Casey and Caden get the women's tag titles. But of course, we've gone back and forth with them 3 times already. Of course, we'll talk about that, of course, later on. We had a pretty strong, hard-hitting match, I thought, between the grizzled young veterans, Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. There was a promo before the match started, but then Ciampa and Thatcher got tired of waiting, and they just went off. And again, I thought they had a pretty good match there. Again, both of these teams, even though I think Ciampa has gone very directionalist, and Thatcher, is just kind of stuck in this element, which he should be on his own. Feels like they put on a very good match. Ciampa and Thatcher would actually get the win, in which Timothy Thatcher got Zach Gibson to tap out with his arm breaker, which was nice to see since Thatcher's been booked as a submission specialist. So does that mean we may see a future match with MSK and Gargano and Ciampa and Thatcher? It's possible. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, so Regal interrupts the way, and Johnny tries to talk his way out of getting a match with Bronson Reed, but Regal says no. And then, of course, that's when he makes a match with Theory and Karrion Kross for next week. Isaiah Swerve Scott is backstage with his entourage celebrating his win, saying he told y'all. He and his crew leave the building. And then this leads us to a video package about Saray and Zeta Raymer, who will fight later on, as Saray is a new big name that for the women's division they're talking about that just arrived from Japan. And Zeta Raymer got the big upset victory over Toni Storm last week. We didn't have this promo with Karrion Kross, who basically says that, he told him to step up 3 weeks ago, but guess what? Nobody has stepped up to him yet. And then Kyle O'Reilly comes out, and he's saying how he gets it. Everybody should be afraid, because Kross is sheer dominance, but he's sensing a little hostility, so he came out to tell him to his face he's not afraid of him, and he's coming after the NXT Championship. But then Pete Dunne comes out, he's like, "Are you two nuts? I don't care who wants to see this match." He doesn't care about the new Kyle O'Reilly. He doesn't care about where he stands as NXT champion. He's the baddest man in NXT, and he wants to be NXT champion. And then Finn Balor came out. He goes, "Pete Dunne, been there, done that. Kyle O'Reilly, been there, done that twice. But Karrion Kross, once you're done with Theory," and then breaks out, and then there was a big brawl between the 4 of them, which would be a pretty interesting fatal 4-way match. Actually, they did that with Kross, Balor, Dunne, and O'Reilly. But then eventually it came down to Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano jumping Karrion Kross from behind, and they takes them out. And again, what the heck is Karrion Kross? Is he a babyface? Is he a heel? He still feels tweener. I don't know. But I still don't like how they're booking Cross right now. Again, he shouldn't be selling or becoming across as weak as he is. Like, he should be. Again, I want to see the dominating monster carrying Cross we got before he hurt his shoulder. That's the Cross I still want to see. But this Cross, like I said, he doesn't feel believably unbeatable to me. Like, he's been pushed to the limit by so many superstars a little late. Again, particularly Santos Escobar, who, was good for what he was as Cruiserweight Champion, but he shouldn't be pushing carrying Cross, past his breaking point. Neither should Gargano and Theory either. So, I don't know about that, but the Fatal 4-Way idea interests me for sure with Cross, Balor, Dunn, and O'Reilly. We'll see where they go with that. And then Saray defeated Zeta Raymer, who again may only be popular because of the whole thing with her beating Toni Storm. Walter also has a backstage segment speaking through a conference call to Imperium. How it's hard to understand. He's very disappointed with his crew, and he has to get their act get together. And also we have another video for Diamond Mine, whoever he's gonna be, don't know. Saray then thanks Zeta Raymer for a good match, but then Toni Storm and Zoe Stark are getting into each other's face until they split them up, and then Stark goes to check on Raymer, and Saray gives her respect, but of course, Toni Storm, obviously, is still, bitter about Zoe Stark defeating her, and she's like, you don't deserve to be breathing the same oxygen as her. She's a global superstar, former and future women's champion. She is just a future nobody that everybody will soon forget about. And she brought Zoe into this business, and whenever she's ready, she will take her right back out of it. LA Knight defeated Jake Atlas, as he should have. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae are in the locker room, and Dexter Lumis was staring in through the door, but then Candice puts down the blind so Indy can't focus on him and focus on the match, which is their main event match. First, then we get Legado del Fantasma with Santos Escobar, basically saying how he wants to recover the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and how Kushida's win was a fluke, and also how they defeated MSK last week, and how Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza won a shot for the NXT tag titles. But then Kushida comes up on the video screen and says, last week that was a mistake. Next week, me versus you, Cruiserweight Championship, let's do it. And Escobar says, you're on, and that got made a 2 out of 3 falls match, which will be intriguing. But then we also have another interview, more talking, with Raquel Gonzalez and Mercedes Martinez having like a split screen interview, talking about what they see when they look at each other, what their accomplishments have done, and basically how you're gonna get it next week. Basically, what it is. Hype up for that women's match between Gonzalez and Martinez next week. Also, is Raquel Gonzalez even a face too? Because I can't tell either right now. So again, as always, the dynamics are confusing in NXT. Then we have a segment with Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart finding that Frankie Monette's puppy pooped in the shark tank. In Shotzi's tank. Whatever. That is probably just a totally human moment. Cameron Grimes tried to get into the VIP club seats because it was rented out by one man. Of course, it was Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and then Grimes was like, how dare you, because he can't one-up him. And in the main event, the Ways, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell defeated Shotzi Blackheart, and Ember Moon become the third team to win the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. In a decent match. It wasn't the best street fight I've seen in the world, but, they obviously did try. My favorite spot was still when Shotzi climbed up the scaffold, or it was, and then that crossbody dive on, I think it was Indy Hartwell. there was a nasty bump that Indy took when she got smacked into a table. The table didn't break, but she took it pretty hard. And she also did an elbow drop off the ropes to take out Ember Moon through the table. But the way would win the women's tag titles by having Candice hit the Wicked Stepsister on a steel chair to Shotzi Blackheart, and they won the tag titles. It's like 3 months now we've had those women's tag titles, and it's already changed hands 3 times, which is a little bit odd. But we'll see what the way do with them. At this point in time, though, I'm hoping they put, even though it will be a 4-time very too soon already, I still feel the original winners should have been Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. They're the ones I feel that would benefit the most from getting get some type of gold on them. But that's NXT. Gave it a B minus. Everything was, pretty solid to decent, I thought. So I gave it the B minus. Tyler in the live chat saying, why do we bring back Eva Marie? Who knows? They just won the model back. Who knows? SmackDown 2016 is greater than 2021. Vince is not like anything on the main roster for sure. The tag scenes are trash. And then NXT is not as good as 2015. 2015 or 2018, I still say, was NXT's best years. And with that being said, guys, it's going to do it. I'm tired and get ready to go to bed. Tomorrow night, not only will I be reviewing AEW Blood and Guts, but during the Blood and Guts match, I'm going to be having my friend Joe Miller over again. We will do live reactions during the Blood and Guts match between the Pinnacle and the Inner Circle. And then I, of course, review Blood and Guts tomorrow night. So, guys, those are my thoughts on on NXT this week. Again, gave it a B minus. What were your thoughts on NXT this week? Leave thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAir93. Until then, guys, I'm checking out. Have a great night. I'll see you all later. Peace out, everybody.